That's right, folks. It's Sunday and it's another live start sit show. 2 straight hours of live answering your questions about what players you should start in your wide receiver three, your flex, your QB streamers, all this and more starting right now on the Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel. Well, folks, it's another episode of the Razzball Fantasy Football Podcast. Today is once a glorious Sunday. It's week 3, folks. And we have another Sunday live start sit show. 2 hours straight of your start sit questions. We'll be breaking down all the key injuries, weather updates, everything you need to know up until kickoff. Today, as you can see, there is no Sky Gawasko, so I am very proud to announce the new lead of today's show. It's Matthew Styles. You can follow him at Styles08 on Twitter. What's going on, Matt? Oh, sorry, I got you on mute. There we go.
No title. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah. I had you guys on mute, so that was a good start. You're fine.
Welcome to Sunday, everybody. Hopefully, Bob wasn't on mute that whole start of the show. I heard him. No. But I will say I will take this as kind of a pseudo promotion. I know it comes with no extra pay or official title change, but promotion nonetheless. So welcome to Sunday. I know when that music hits that it's exciting for me. A little bit of sad news just popped across my ticker here. Mercury Morris from the undefeated Miami Dolphins team in 1972 has passed away. So sad to start the show that way, but there's no doubt we're going to receive some Miami Dolphins questions a little bit later. So hopefully Sky, while he's on the road with his didgeridoo and other musical instruments, can pour a little bit out for Mercury Morris. Ben, what time is it there? Is it 17 in the morning for you?
It's 1:04 a.m. and I'm glad we've already got a didgeridoo reference in there. Aussie reference number 1 already on the board. Love it.
Yes.
There's something about the fact that how you set everything, it looks like 1 a.m. Like the way you have everything set up right now, it's like, that kind of looks like you're in a horror movie right now. It is. This is what week 3. That's what the tight end landscape looks like this week. It is a horror movie, but I like it. It's a good eerie.
Brenton Strange along the horror movie alignment right there. So hopefully we don't hear his name on this pod anytime soon. And I actually had somebody ask me a question: should I bench Kelsey for Brenton Strange? I said no. You should stop playing fantasy football forever.
Wow.
Yes, I said that up here, Bob. I'm a professional. I didn't.
And now you said it out here.
I did, but nobody's listening. We only have 1,400 people dialed in right now, but I have my glasses. Is that 1,400 or 1,500? Yes. Derek, what about you? You've been up for hours. I know you've probably knocked out some chores that Kelly handed to you.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, ready. Traveling all week, so ready to get back into the routine and watch some football today.
Yeah, Bob, you may not know this, but Derek traveled to the Sunshine State of Florida, and we actually were able to meet up for dinner, and Jen and I went and took Derek to a nice Creole style dinner. It was actually very nice to see an old friend, and it was good times.
I'm glad to see the team getting together. It's always good. You need that. I actually only met Sky once, and I've known him for like 6 years now, and I met him one time. It was really cool. We got some beers, we had some food, we just talked sports. It was nice. It was nice to actually see him as a person. It was actually quite a crazy experience. But hopefully one day we could do a Razzball retreat. That'd be nice.
Yeah. So my wife did want Gray's address because she's going to mail the invoice, the receipt for dinner. We're going to call it the work meeting.
Yeah, it was. So, it was a work meeting. 51% of the time we were talking.
Yeah, absolutely was. So if you don't mind just signing that off, you don't need to look at it. Just don't worry about the to-goes and the desserts. Just sign off on it, and everything will be all right.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. You ready to jump into it, boys? You want to start with the first question since we've cracked a couple eggs already? By the way, I already was up and I made breakfast tacos for the house. Bob, yes.
Before we get started, I want to make sure I always remind everybody that today's show, we have a sponsor. We're actually working with Good Sports. Good Sports is a charity organization that helps underprivileged communities supply equipment to children to help play sports. It's a really good organization. We kick back 10% of any donation that goes to us, to Good Sports. Our goal For every $100, we'll donate 10. So if you guys can get us, if you want to be a super chatter, donate to the show. We kick back some of that to a good cause. And on top of that, you get to skip the line. So if you're waiting for your question, you want to just throw $1, you jump right to the front of the line. $1 goes a long way to us and also good sports. So we do really appreciate it. But back to you, Matt. Let's get the show started.
Yeah, that's a lot less expensive than the Disney Fast Pass. Go ahead and look that up, and you'll find that our jump to the front of the line is much cheaper. I actually logged in about 10, 12 minutes early. Derek was right after me. Jeff was already in the room, Jeff Marks. Jeff, good morning to you too. Jeff would like us to start by picking two guys, full PPR, Zamir White, Terry McLaurin, Rashid Shaheed, Calvin Ridley, Brian Thomas Jr. I liked how he puts that in there the right way. And Deontay Johnson. I have my thoughts on this. I think if Zamir White's going to do anything, it's going to be this week. And I am not going to pivot off of Rashid Shaheed the way the Saints are playing, especially against Philly. I'm going to hear others probably not pick Zamir White, but I think this is the week that he has to do it, or you have to start talking about benching him. So for me, give me Zamir White, Rashid Shaheed. I like Thomas for a touchdown. I like Ridley for a touchdown. I don't know that they're going to have a ton of points outside of that. And I want to see 1 week of Deontay with Andy Dalton before I sign off.
I can't wait. Let's go. The Red Rifle is back, baby.
The Red Rifle is making his first appearance.
Super sick.
Ed, what do we think?
Okay, so look, we're going to get a lot of Zamir White questions this week. I feel like I'm just going to put it out here straight away. I'm basically going to start Zamir White most of the time. He's in the top 20 for me. It is ugly because it's PPR, but he should get over 20 carries. He should have at least a touchdown. We've seen how much you can run on the Panthers. It's been happening all year already. It was happening last year. This is how you attack this team. It should be an easy run game for Zamir White. As for everyone else, I mean, there's nothing great there, but Shaheed actually has a really good matchup against Philly. We talked in the Slot versus Wide show about how that is a legitimately solid matchup. I feel like he's been a little bit more boom bust than people like to recognize. Like, sure, he got 95 yards and a touchdown, but on 3 receptions, which is not exactly ideal for PPR. So without that touchdown, that big play, all of a sudden no one's talking about Rashid Shaheed. So he's running a full route tree. He's actually involved, but he's risky, but so is everyone else. Thomas has a really tough matchup. Johnson we haven't seen yet. McLaurin hasn't turned up yet this season. Ridley's got a tough matchup. White and Shaheed.
Yeah, I'm going to sound like a broken record here. I've got Shaheed as my wide receiver 25. But then, in a PPR, I'm looking at the receivers first. And so I got him at 25. But then I've got the other 4 at 31, 32, 33, and 34. So there's not really a definitive second wide receiver choice there. So I don't mind pivoting to Zamir White as well. Play Shaheed and Zamir White. Give him a shot. I agree with Matt, actually. This is the week. I don't like the game, the projected 39.5 points in that game. They are playing at home. I'm actually cautiously optimistic with Carolina this week and the situation there with the Red Rocket under center. So I don't mind getting a piece of this game. And so I agree. I'm going to go with Shaheed and Zamir White here. Those other wide receivers just don't differentiate to me at all.
Yeah. I think it's going to be universal here. I agree as well. Zamir White, obviously, against Carolina. But here's the funny thing about Rashid Shaheed. The numbers look, if you look at the aggregate numbers, they don't look necessarily fantastic. But he's only ran 36 routes this season because the Saints have blown everybody out. He's got 9 targets on 36 routes. That's 25%. That's good. So I think that if Philly can just put together any form of offense against the Saints and the Saints actually have to play a full game, the numbers could even go up. So I actually am all in on Shaheed and Zamir White. This seems like a slam dunk to me.
So interesting numbers. Derek Carr currently a quarterback 2 in fantasy behind Baker Mayfield.
What a world. What a world we live in right now.
What a wonderful time to be alive. Now, mind you, the Detroit Lions, who kind of have always felt like a run-first team, especially with those 2 running backs, they have attempted 84 passes. Derek Carr, the over-under guys, the over-under on Derek Carr, mind you, the Lions have attempted 84. Derek Carr's over-under for pass attempts is 55. Ben?
I mean, it's got to be way below that too.
Okay, you're taking the under. Derek, 55.
Say that again.
Derek Carr's over-under for pass attempts this year has been 55 total. Not in a game, total.
It's got to be under.
Bob?
Under. Let's do it.
It is actually under by 15.
Wow.
He's thrown the ball 40 times. He's also led 15 straight scoring drives. That's the Derek Carr that didn't get drafted even in best ball leagues. So let that sink in. Insane statistics so far from the Saints. And by the way, let's fire up Alvin Kamara everywhere. All right, Travis was in early as well. Travis, we saw last week, so Travis Heaps, welcome in again. Happy Football Sunday to you as well. 12-team PPR, needs to pick between Amari Cooper and Brian Thomas Jr. Thank you guys for your thoughtful insights. Because I am in significant, deep, loving relationship with Brian Thomas Jr., this one pains me to say, but I am probably going to start Amari Cooper and hope that this begins Amari Cooper season. I think the smarter move might be Brian Thomas Jr., but I'm going to go with Amari Cooper for week 3. Jeff? Pardon me, Jeff's not here. Ben, I'm going to take some more caffeine and get caught up.
I like it. Look, for me, I loved Amari Cooper coming into this season. I still love him. He just needs to get going, and I think he will this week against the Giants. Look, the Giants aren't exactly a perfect matchup, but they're in the top half on the slot versus wide tool. The important one, though, toughest matchup for out wide receivers so far this season is Buffalo, who is the opponent for Brian Thomas Jr. This is going to be a really tough week for him, guys. He's going to need a big play somewhere to make it work. I don't know if that's necessarily likely to happen. If you're going to have a Jacksonville player, might be Christian Kirk, but he's not even running enough routes to make it worthwhile. So this whole situation's really ugly. I definitely want Amari Cooper.
Yeah, all the same for me too. I have Cooper as my wide receiver 25 versus Brian Thomas at 32. So I agree. We've been disappointed with Cooper, but we know it's there. He's going to come through and give me, for many of the reasons Ben said, give me Amari Cooper.
Bob, what do we think? Are we going to go 2 quad box full agreements, 2 questions in a row to start the show?
I got nothing really to add here. It's that and by the way, the Browns are at home. Obviously, I think it's less about a Cooper and more about Thomas being on the road against Buffalo. So I think Cooper is probably the pick here. But Deontay Foreman game, calling it right now for the Browns.
Yeah, and I'll say this: if Cleveland would just accept the fact that they made a $250 million guaranteed mistake and would move on both for the fans and the team and let Jameis chuck the football, a lot of these questions go away because fantasy players love Jameis Winston. Who cares if he throws 3 interceptions, right? He's probably not throwing 5, but who cares if he throws 3? He's gonna look like Joe Flacco did with David Njoku last year, and I would love to see that. But the Browns have to swallow some pride. They're going to have to admit that Deshaun Watson was an absolute mistake and move forward. So that's 2 in a row. Let's see if we can get to 3 in a row, which might be a new record. We have to go back in the tape. Your buddy's in, right? Bill Dino is in. And here is his question. He needs 3 in a PPR. He needs Tyreek, Marvin Harrison, Chris Olave, DK Harrison for sure. It's really who to sit on the other 3. Okay, so there probably is a comma after DK. So he's starting Harrison. He needs to sit Tyreek, Olave, or DK. Golly, I can't believe I'm going to hear myself say this out loud. But given those players, their current quarterback situation, and the game this Sunday or today, I'm probably going to sit Tyreek Hill. Ben, can you say the same?
Look, for me, it's really tight. The PPR makes it interesting as well. I've got Hill and DK back-to-back. Olave, I feel pretty confident about. Olave's in the top 10 for me. About as confident as you can feel about Chris Olave, which is not very. But Tyreek Hill, that's an awful situation. DK Metcalf, that's a tough matchup. I think that's going to be a run-heavy game. So I'm going to sit DK. which is a little bit on the crazy side. But we have seen that there have been plenty of times where he's had those tougher matchups where he has been very quiet. Last week wasn't one of them, but it has happened plenty of times in the past. So I'm expecting him to struggle to go back to back.
Yeah, this really is an odd question to expect in week 3, when we're considering sitting Tyreek Hill, who was probably his number 1 draft pick, in a redraft. But to me, he is the sit for me as well. I've got these 3 ranked 13, 14, and 16. So they're all right there together. But traveling across country with a new quarterback, I just don't want any part of Hill here. Well, with these other 3 names, I don't want a part of him. So yes, I'm going to sit Hill, as awful as that sounds, and I'm going to roll with Harrison, Olave, and DK.
The matchup's already bad. I mean, Seattle has good corners on the outside. They are already a tough matchup. They're in Seattle as well. And honestly, not the rookie, but Skylar Thompson, if you just look at, I know, and by the way, this was Skylar Thompson's rookie season, but if you just look at the 3 full games that he played back in 2022, Tyreek Hill averaged 50 yards a game. It's not an ideal situation. By the way, Skylar Thompson came in last week and did not look particularly great. So I would just take the wait and see approach, especially when you're dealing with these level of other receivers. If it's not like we're asking you to start Jordan Whittington and whatever, from the Rams over Tyreek Hill, which who knows, right? But I think this is an easy fade on Tyreek.
Yeah, and I heard on a different show this morning on the Sirius Radio that they believe that Skylar Thompson can be successful based on the fact that it's a system system-driven, quarterback positive offense. Did we get that? I'm not going to say it again, but you get what I'm saying. In the fact that it's going to be a fake handoff to Achane, right? Play action, and he's going to turn and throw to a spot. So there's going to be some interceptions for Seattle today. They're going to probably bracket Tyreek, so it may be a better game for Waddle. Outside of Ben's his difference in sitting DK, I think the majority of us are going to go with Tyreek. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here as well. Purely why Bill's asking the question, because it doesn't feel comfortable to sit any of these players. So for 3 of us, it's Hill. For 1 of us, it's DK. Hopefully that gives Bill enough to move forward. Ben, how are we doing? Ronald McDonald checking in. I'm not sure if you're familiar with who this guy is.
Look, I mean, I can see one outside the window, literally from where I'm sitting, and I'm awake. And that's how I'm doing.
Yeah. And we'll let you, if you do doze off, Bob does have the shot collar going, so he can
get the air horn.
Yep.
All right, for Mr. McDonald, pick one. Notice I'm not going to say the whole name because it would just be comical to do that. So pick one, flex, half-point PPR, Kirk, Javonte Williams, Devin Singletary. So we went from having 4 wonderful options to 3 not-so-wonderful options. For me, Ben already stated it. Kirk's not running enough routes. He's not getting enough targets. Trevor Lawrence does not look good, much less great. The Browns are in some weird purgatory where they don't understand that the season has really started. And when it did start, it was just Bo Nix throwing everywhere and not very well. So give me Singletary only based on it should be a volume play in a half-point PPR. So I don't love it, but I will take Singletary.
Look, I am going to go for Christian Kirk, which I know sounds a little bit crazy, but bear with me, Ronnie. So what we're going to do is have a look at who he's matched up against in the slot. Cam Lewis. Cam Lewis's PFF coverage grade so far this season, 50. That's really low. 60 is about average. 50 is very, 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 very poor. He's already been targeted 14 times this season for 11 receptions. It's not looking good for Cam Lewis, and he's going to get a whole lot of Christian Kirk. So give me Christian Kirk. I'm not expecting a lot, but I'm expecting more than you get out of Devin Singletary or Javonte Williams because eek.
Yeah, and for comparison, Bob's rated at a 72. So, I mean, he's better than Cam Lewis by a lot. So, Bob, congratulations on that. We'll go ahead and move to Derek.
I don't even know why. By the way, 72? Really? I mean, all the years we've spent together. You would think I would get something higher from you, but I guess 72 is at least
Pretty good for a red-headed cornerback.
That's true.
There it is.
It's true. That's true. I don't even think there ever has been a
Never
red-headed
happened.
cornerback.
That's
good
the
point.
first official redhead comment. We hinted at it earlier, so that's one. Redhead and didgeridoo, we are now tied one each, Australian versus red hair color. So, Bob, good for you. 72 is nothing to shake a stick at. I think it's good. I think you should be proud of that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Derek.
Yeah. So are we talking football or what? Cosmetology?
I don't want to hear it. You guys are going to go off on a baseball tangent in about 5 minutes. I don't want to hear it. All right.
This is sports. I mean,
I'm in the finals. I'm in the baseball finals, just so you know. We'll get to that in a minute.
Nope. Don't do it. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So being that it's a half PPR, my first thing is to look at the running backs, before Christian Kirk, and to me, these two are actually pretty close as well, which seems to be a trend today. These are good questions because they're these players that I'm looking over are essentially next to each other in my rankings. But for me, give me Singletary today. More of a gut feel, really, than anything else. It's not expected to be a super high scoring game there in Cleveland with the Giants, but he is getting a large workload. He can catch the ball in the background. He's actually been surprisingly fantasy useful. And we're still, as much as we love Javonte, and if you go back and listen to us last week, it's Dave Cruz and I especially, we were touting him the whole day, and we've been disappointed. So yeah, give me Devin Singletary here. I'm not expecting, Kamara numbers by any means, but I think he's fantasy useful, especially in a half PPR.
Yeah, it's Devin Singletary for me too. I understand that Javonte worries me on the road against Tampa. I know Vita Vea today is a huge loss for the Bucs run game, but you don't beat the Bucs with big bruising backs. That's not how you beat them. So I'm not really excited for him. And Christian Kirk, he just hasn't. I think the offseason injury has been a bigger issue than we thought. It's lingering. There's a lot of. Evan Ingram was out last week and he still didn't really show up. So I want to see Kirk do it. And Singletary has been doing it. And the Browns have allowed a touchdown to a running back in back-to-back weeks. So give me Singletary in the workload.
Bob, quick question. You mentioned Deontay Foreman earlier, and I haven't seen his name nor Jerome Ford. We had a lot of Jerome Ford last week. Who has more fantasy points this week, Jerome Ford or Deontay Foreman?
Deontay Foreman, baby. Let's go.
William Jones.
Who?
Thank you, Derek, for stepping in for Sky. Need a PPR, 2 flexes. Lad McConkey, Jaden Reed, Rashid Shaheed, Tyler Johnson, or Josh Downs, who appears to be in and ready to play for the Colts this week. And by the way, Michael Pittman has popped up on that list. The injury list is questionable. So for me, we need 2 flexes, Jaden Reed and Rashid Shaheed, and it's not really close for me. Actually, it is close. Malik Willis is the starter for my Packers. I think I'm going to pivot and go McConkey and Shaheed.
Okay, I'm glad I didn't talk for an extra 2 seconds. So look, Shaheed obviously for me. The other one is a little bit closer. I talked last week about McConkey having a really tough matchup against the Panthers in the slot, and it turned out to be the case, and he had a very poor week. This is not the case this week. I think he's going to be absolutely fine. It's not the greatest of matchups, but I still think he's going to be fine. So I will start McConkey alongside Shaheed.
Yeah. So again, for me, we did talk about Shaheed, and he's going to be certainly one of the 2 here. As is the trend, I have McConkey and Reed back to back in my rankings. My gut tells me actually the upside of Reed is where I want to be in this one. He is boom or bust in a lot of ways, but he gets the ball in space and he makes your fantasy day for you. So I'm going to take the potential upside of Reed as my flex 2. I don't mind taking a little bit of a risk in my second flex, and mind you, Reed is going to be a little bit of a gamble, but I'll take that here and go with Reed and Shaheed.
Yeah, Herbert's status is unfortunately still up in the air. He is a game time decision. Sounds like he probably is leaning to playing. To be honest with you, I don't think I want to play McConkey if Herbert's out. So, what is the times of all these games? Because I think my question would definitely change based on
The
if
Chargers
Herbert's
are
in.
early. Chargers are early, so you'll know.
Okay, yeah. Shaheed's definitely in. Oh God, I don't want to do Downs yet. It's too early. Tyler Johnson, I don't even know if he's going to play much. It's kind of random. Shaheed's the lock for me. I would go McConkey if Herbert's in. If they rule Herbert out, I would pivot to Reed.
Agree.
Yeah, and I can co-sign on that. Looks like Ben's nodding in the same direction. Derek already went with Reed, so I think that we're pretty much in agreement. I feel McConkey is a little bit safer with Herbert in. Reed is your boom play. If you need 30-point possibility, it's not going to be McConkey. It's going to be Reed with some gadget. But remember, if you watch the Green Bay game, or if you're a Green Bay homer like I am, the game plan last week was we're going to run the ball until they make us not run the ball. And Josh Jacobs looked like Walter Payton and ran all day. And they just gave Malik Willis enough rope to be positive, to have some confidence, but they didn't let him do anything crazy. So I have a feeling that that worked in 1 week. Might as well give it another week to work. And then Jordan Love should be back in week 4.
Can I just say, too, just before we move on, the Colts defense is an absolute dumpster fire right now. The Titans defense is not. So I think it worked last week because DeForest Buckner was out and they have a terrible secondary and they were able to get away with it. We're running Josh Jacobs down their throat. The Titans defense is not the same. So I think we might see a little, I think the Titans defense is an interesting streamer this week because they're going to probably force him to do more. I just don't see it happening with like it did with the Colts last week. So I'm a little wary of the Packers this week.
Yeah. So with that, is that why you're leaning Foreman?
Foreman? What do you mean?
Never mind. Different question. I was thinking
different team.
I think I may have been drunk last night and I didn't have anything to drink. So
I love it.
Yeah. Moving on. VT Boo, PPR Flex, Javonte or Pirine. For me, only because I have no idea what the Chiefs are going to do with their backfield, I'm going to lean Javonte Williams.
Sup, Boo? So I do not trust the Chiefs situation, and I kind of like the fact that Williams is playing against Tampa because they've conceded the 5th most points to running backs so far this season, and it seems like he's probably the pass-catching running back there for the most part, which is kind of crazy. Thinking about what happened in the preseason, but it's what's happened so far. So in PPR, I'm going to go with Williams, even though I do think P. Ryan could turn out to be the goal line guy because of how they've used McKinnon in the past.
Yeah, same for me. Start Javonte here. I'm not really sure what that situation is going to be yet in Kansas City, so give me Javonte.
Sure. Dude, Javonte is fun.
Oh, so you actually sound like you're super confident about that pick. Bob, with that, do you want to tell the folks why we're here and the charity that we're working hand in hand with real quick, and then we'll get back to the questions?
Sure. As a reminder, everybody, by the way, every Sunday we're here live for 2 hours answering all your start-sit questions. And, of course, if you ever want to skip the line and jump ahead, we really appreciate any super chatters. $1 goes a long way to help us do this show. But on top of that, we also have partnered with Good Sports. Good Sports is a charity organization that helps provide kids with sporting equipment in underprivileged communities. We donate 10% of every dollar that we get. So if we get to $100, we'll donate 10 this year. We're hoping to push as high as we can go. So we do kick back to the community on top of the fact that really helps us with the show too. And if you're ever in a rush, you can jump the line as well. So it's got multifaceted. And by the way, we have another person just waiting, by the way, Matt.
Jeff. Yeah, I'm waiting to bring him in after the Good Sports.
Okay. Well, Jeff, talk about a good sport. Jeff's a good sport for waiting behind the scenes on multiple questions without causing a ruckus. He didn't freak out. He waited patiently, so that's why he's also a good sport. Great transition, Jeff.
Coming in hot in his Jaguars jersey too, right?
So
Yeah.
Jeff was in the background doing calisthenics, trying to warm up. I'm not sure his shoulder is any more warm than Trevor Lawrence's. So let's see, Jeff. You think you could complete 55% of your passes today?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I push it to 60.
Well, what about if your DB that you were facing off against, Christian Kirk, was being covered by Bob, who's a 72-point scorer by PFF? Ben confirmed that.
I trust my receiver to get open.
There you go. That's a challenge to you, Bob. That's not a challenge to Christian Kirk. All right, moving on. GR, 4-point pass TD. Justin Fields, Deshaun Watson, Sam Darnold season, or Kirk Cousins. For me, the first name's not even in the discussion. Doesn't belong on this list. Doesn't belong on any positive fantasy football list whatsoever. Deshaun Watson, I don't want to talk about him either. I like Sam Darnold, except for the final drive of that Philly game in which Kirk Cousins looked absolutely Hall of Fame-ish. But since my article for week 3 starts with Sam Darnold, I'm going to stick with Sam Darnold. That's my final answer. Ben?
Some pretty good matchups here. I have them pretty close to back to back to back. I have Darnold highest, though. I think that's the nicest matchup. He's been playing the best of all the others this season. I feel like Watson could still have a good game. He's a solid option, but it's Darnold for me.
Yeah, just like Ben, I've got these guys between 15 and 20, all 4 of them. But I like the matchup for Darnold. He used to been spending a little friendly for quarterbacks. And Jefferson appears to be healthy. He's going to be about as healthy as he's going to get. So if he was out for some reason or expected to be limited, I might pivot off of him to Cousins. But for me, give me Darnold.
Yeah, I'm going to go with
Jeff,
Darnold.
on you.
Yeah, I'll go with Darnold. He's been the most consistent of the 3. However, I do like Cousins' matchup this week. Chiefs are allowing a lot of yards to quarterbacks, so it could be a shootout potentially. So Cousins could surprise this week.
Yeah, but Bob, what's your injury report say about Addison? Is Addison back, or is he going to sit again?
He's out.
Out. Okay. Which obviously doesn't help, but I guess Jalen Naylor will be the next man up.
Yeah, how you beat the Texans right now is through the air, but I'm going to go Justin Fields in a 4-point.
Buddy, when are you going to learn?
I'll learn. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the Steelers haven't faced anybody of note, so we'll see what they do against the Chargers today, who actually can play offense, and we'll see how this matchup looks. I'm going to go Fields over Sam Darnold. Yeah, Sam Darnold's what everybody here is telling you to start today. Sam Darnold with, by the way, Justin Jefferson dealing with a quad injury, no Jordan Addison, but they're going to tell you to start Sam Darnold in a 4-point passing touchdown league. That's okay. We'll see. We'll see.
It's not like he was the 4th highest scoring quarterback last week or anything like that.
We'll see.
We'll
see. We'll see.
Well, and here's the deal: we're basically in year 3 of Bob trying to manifest Justin Fields as anything more than a guy that ran for 1,000 yards once. So did Tatum Bell.
But this is fantasy football, Matt. This is fantasy football. It's not real football. So, yes, give me the 1,000 rusher as a quarterback. I love that, actually.
But he doesn't do that anymore.
We'll see. We'll see.
Oh, my. Oh, Derek.
Sam Darnold. We'll see.
Yeah, I almost feel like I should take a break, right? I just got put on tilt by an answer that I don't know. I don't know what, but I can't. We're going to go on to the next question because this is ridiculous.
Well, I expect our group chats are going to be hot today. So,
well, hopefully Bob's phone is charged up. He probably switched his iPhone back to a whatever the other phone for the cheap people that don't have enough money to buy an iPhone. He'll be the green guy on the text taking all the fields.
I have never been a green guy, so that this is propaganda. Don't believe everything. See, this is already bull. I've never been a green guy, so this is all lies. So,
all right, quick quiz, Derek. Can you tell me who this listener is?
Well, he's a longtime contributor, but I don't know if I've ever heard his real name.
So if you dig deep into our baseball league, this is our Canadian friend.
Is it
Mike Leaf?
Is that
who is
Leaf?
Dialed
Okay.
in for the first time.
Nice.
Mike, good to see you. Appreciate you keeping an eye on all the stuff that is baseball. The guy below me in this Quint box will not allow us to talk baseball on this show. So sorry about that. If you do play fantasy football, Mike, go ahead and throw a question in there and we will get to it shortly. Our next question, before I pull it up, everybody make sure you don't have any drink or food in your mouth. This is officially your dry heave waiver wire question of the week. Back to William Jones.
Who?
Exactly. Joe Mixon out, Cam Akers, or waivers? At this point, waivers is probably just skin and bones.
Well, and let's, before we answer the question, let's address the 3-part.
Oh yeah.
Which is very fitting.
What's the third one?
It's
a creek.
It's a canoe. It's a canoe. He's up Schitt's Creek.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's pretty good. That was
Potentially
good.
with a paddle, maybe.
Yeah, Derek's been staring at that one for an hour. I bet
he may have a paddle, but
You're not up Schitt's. You're not up Schitt's Creek. Cam Akers, start him. He's going to be fine.
Yeah, he's got a starting running back, so he does at least have a paddle.
And we know Dameon Pierce has been ruled out. He was ruled out earlier this week, so it's basically Cam Akers and nobody else. So I see Houston tossing the ball a lot today, but yeah, I think it's Akers for everybody. Anybody disagree with Akers?
I disagree that there's no one else because Ogunbowale is going to be heavily involved, especially on passing down. So I wouldn't be too excited about Akers. Plus, it is possible they give Ogunbowale some early down work as well. He is legitimately getting touches even when Mixon's healthy. So I expect you'll see more of him than you want, but Akers is still a starting back compared to everyone else that's likely available to you.
All right. So yeah. Here we go. Our first super chat of the day. Hopefully we have some music in the background.
That's so much better than any sound that could have came from StreamYard.
Good morning, Scott Eminger. Morning back to you. Jared Goff or Jaden Daniels at quarterback? I believe the highest implied total out of Vegas is Arizona and Detroit at 52.5, or maybe it's just an even 52. 84 passes. We mentioned that earlier from Goff. I don't think Jaden Daniels has thrown a touchdown pass yet. So I will take Jared Goff, even though I do like the running ability of Daniels. Give me Goff, final answer for me.
Well, I'm going to go the other way. I do like the Goff matchup, but Jaden Daniels scored more points last week than Jared Goff has scored in either of the first 2 weeks. And he scored twice as many points in week 1 as he did in week 2. So he, for the season, has, 50% more points than Jared Goff and more. I'm going Daniels. It's a good matchup.
Yeah, I don't think there's necessarily a wrong answer here. I think both of them will be just fine. So we're probably just nitpicking over a few points here and there. I mean, yeah, to Matt's point, Daniels hasn't thrown a touchdown pass yet, but he hadn't thrown an interception yet either. He's doing a lot with his legs. And, I can't see how I threw every color flag in the color spectrum last week on the Commanders for allowing Daniels to run as much as he is. It's just, it's insane to me that they're putting their rookie quarterback in such a situation where he's just going to get beat up. It's a long season, and here in 2 weeks, he's just running so much. So I'm actually gonna go the other way, and I'm gonna go with Goff. Again, I saw 51.5. It is the highest projected of the week at Arizona. It's indoors, so it is on the road, but it's indoors. for Goff, so I don't have that whole outdoor issue to worry about with him or the heat in Arizona. So give me Goff on this one until I see something else from Daniels. I think he's a fine option, but I'm not going to be eager to start him because I just don't see, the running him to be able to keep this up. I just don't see it. He's not a big guy, and he's going to be walking around on the sidelines carrying a clipboard if he keeps this up. So give me Goff.
I'm going to go with Ben. I like the floor of Daniels in the rushing. Goff hasn't been very good. I know it's a good matchup, but I don't want to trust Goff on the road. And Goff is QB 26 on the year right now, so I'd rather go Daniels.
Bengals are very good in the back end of their secondary. They are beat up on the defensive tackle, so I think Brian Robinson's probably like my start of the week at running back. I think that's how the Commanders will stay in this game. I actually think that the Arizona Lions game will be relatively fun. So give me – and by the way, is this 6-point or 4-point? I think that might sway me one or the other way. I would say Goff in 6, Daniels in 4.
All right. Bob, can you still hear me? My screen has frozen.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So
I like this. I actually much prefer just hearing the audio and you just – it's a still screen.
Ridiculous. I cannot see the questions, so Ben or Derek, if you can take over the questions, I may have to find a way to jump out and jump back in.
Sure.
Right.
I'll
go ahead, Ben. Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah. Okay, so JP or Jup, depending on how you pronounce it over there, has gone with. And by the way, I was just really enjoying that frozen screen. I didn't even notice the difference. Look, Jup wants to ask about Christian Watson, ill, Jalen Waddle, ill, or Jordan Whittington, who. All of these are interesting, mainly because Watson and Waddle are good players with terrible matchups, and Whittington is all of a sudden potentially the starter for the Rams. Personally, I'm going to go with Waddle because I do feel like you're at least talking about a very good player with a terrible quarterback. As for Whittington, we don't know that he's definitely going to start. They may use Tutu Atwell now that they've had a week to think about it. It is a good slot matchup, but I just don't trust Whittington until we've actually seen what they're going to do with Kupp and Nakua out. And no one wants Christian Watson because we now officially know that it's going to be Malik Willis. Derek, what about you?
Yeah, I'm on the same boat with you. I have high hopes for Whittington. I think he actually, could carve out a nice little role for himself with the injuries on the Rams. But we just don't know if it's there yet. I'm not trusting that. And the same, with Watson. With that, and we've talked about it in the preseason. We talked about it, the first couple of weeks. Which one of those receivers are in Green Bay are we going, playing? And Tennessee defense actually been pretty good. So give me the better receiver. I know his situation's not great, but give me the best receiver of the bunch, and I'll go with Waddle.
Yeah, I don't like Watson with the quarterback situation. I wrote about benching Waddle in my home splits. Waddle is worse on the road and traveling to Seattle with a backup quarterback. I don't know how many targets he's going to get. I would assume Miami is going to be running a lot more. And I'm really curious about Whittington. The Rams are going to have to pass. I would prefer Whittington. I think he has the big boom play of the three, but the safest is probably Waddle. So with that, I'll have to go with Waddle.
Yeah, I'm going Whittington. I just think it's at this point. I've seen Waddle play with this backup quarterback. It was terrible. I've seen Waddle. It's also on the road. It's also in Seattle, a tough out wide matchup. I want to have some fun. At least if I started Waddle and he gets me 3 for 33, I'll be so pissed. But if Whittington gets me 3 for 33, I'll be like, well, at least I figured, it's whatever. I don't know why, but I want to have fun. So I'm going to have fun and start the guy who's in a good matchup. By the way, San Francisco, one of the best slot matchups. That's where Whittington plays. I'm going to have a little fun today. Let's go Whittington.
And let's be fair, Bobby. You have PTSD with Waddle, too. So
he's the worst. He's the worst, by the way. I'm not going to lie. He had 2 good games. He's the Tyreek Hill handcuff. When Tyreek Hill is out, you play Jalen Waddle. Until that Tyreek Hill's out, don't worry about it. He had a good game in week 1, though. So I'll give him credit for that. But, man, last year was brutal. But now there's no Tua. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Skylar Thompson thing, I kind of want to take a wait-and-see approach on it, too, just to see how this goes. Seattle, and by the way, if they're home, I would maybe like, all right, the young rookie. Now the rookie's got to go on. I keep calling him a rookie, but Skylar Thompson's got to go on the road in Seattle, which is probably top 3 toughest places to play. And good luck, by the way, because that defense is really good too. So I in the secondary. So
is it really good? I mean, Jacoby Brissett managed to throw on them. I don't know that they're that good.
Jacoby Brissett. Let's see what he did here.
Hey Bob, I'm back, buddy. Did you miss me?
I mean, Jacoby Brissett 149 passing yards. So
yeah.
Sure.
I mean, for Jacoby Brissett, that's a borderline fantastic. Like
that's 300 yards.
Given how he looked against the Jets, they actually managed to move the ball and look like a functional offense. Like I don't think Seattle's very good.
We'll find out today. I mean, we're not going to find out today because if Skylar Thompson looks bad, we're just going to say, well, they haven't faced anybody. They faced Bo Nix, Jacoby Brissett. Let's say this. All right, I concede. We don't know if they're good yet because they haven't faced anybody. But I don't think Skylar Thompson is going to be the guy that goes for 250 and 2 against them. So I think we're both right on this one. I'm just going to concede that maybe we don't know if Seattle's secondary is any good just yet. I'll give you that.
Bob, I'm back. Did you miss me? I know Jeff did.
Things were going very well. Ben did really good. I like the accent reading the questions. It was actually very nice, and so I don't know. Maybe let's go back to Matt now. Let's see how this goes.
Well, we'll try it. Interesting news. Justin Herbert is officially in. Michael Pittman is officially full go. And I will tell you this. If Seattle was playing against Pittsburgh and Justin Fields, I start Seattle's defense. So moving on to Jamie. Jamie's late this morning. Must have slept in a little bit. In deep league, should I start Rashad Bateman or Dolchich? Full point tight end premium. Dolchich he's averaging PPR points like 3.5 or very low 4s. Bateman is not good at football, and the Ravens are going to probably be much more Derrick Henry. I probably am not starting either one. Maybe I go grab Brenton Strange off the wire and start one of them over these two. But I don't like either one. I guess flip a coin for me. I guess Dolchich, but only because there's a premium associated. But I think there's probably a better player on the wire.
I would guess that if this is a very deep league, then it makes sense why you're in this situation. And I actually quite like Dolchich as an ascending player. They've really shut down Adam Troutman this season. He's hardly involved at the moment. They're not running a lot of 12 personnel. They're running mostly 11 personnel, and they're using Dolchich as the pass-catching tight end, which is fantastic for him and for his value. He had 8 targets last week. They just weren't able to connect. He now gets a solid matchup. In fact, a good matchup even. So I would start Dolchich, and I'd feel pretty good about it in a tight end premium league because I do think there's a reasonable chance that he gets 5-6 receptions, and all of a sudden that's really good for you.
Yeah, same for me. We know Jamie's a strong owner, and if these are the names that he's considering, these are his best options most likely. So I'm taking the premium as well. Dolchich, he's averaging 5 to 6 targets per game, so we can expect that he is going to get targeted, he's going to get workload, and so therefore with the premium, I'm taking the upside there. Bateman, may get one or 2 targets on the whole day, and whether he does something or not, I don't want to risk my fantasy week on the opportunity that the limited opportunity he's got. So give me Dolchich with the premium, and we'll see what he makes of those 5 or 6 targets.
Yeah, this is brutal for you, Jamie. Sorry to hear this question for you, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Dolchich as well, just for that's tight end premium. Bateman's just not really good, as mentioned earlier. So yeah, definitely Dolchich.
Sam Laporta 2 for 13 last week against Tampa. I don't know if I really know if this is going to be an option. I'm going to go with Bateman. The Dallas Cowboys are. I think if they're at home, they're going to have to put up points, and the Ravens are going to have to keep up, and they're in a must-win too. So I'm going to go Bateman.
All right, Bob, remind me, because it is early for you. I don't think we discussed. Are we going to break away in 9 minutes for your injury report? for a couple minutes, or do you want to just continue to cover those as we move along?
No, we'll do a break. We'll just keep plowing through these, and then I got most of it. I'm kind of reading through some of the updates right now, so we got a couple minutes.
Okay. JCW, who we've seen quite a bit.
Yeah, missed a couple.
Did we already hit this one?
No, but you jumped over a couple.
This would have never happened to Ben. All right, this is ridiculous.
I was with Jamie. Jamie was the tight end premium.
There's two. Okay, so there's two questions from Twitter that came in that are on my screen, but you must not see it on yours.
I do not. Oh, you want to go ahead and ask those out loud?
Yeah. Well, they're right here. I got it right here.
Shaheed and Zamir for me. The question is: pick two to start. PPR, 2 flex. Shaheed, Tank Dell, Cam Akers, Zamir White. I'm still going to lean Rashid Shaheed and Zamir White, just as I did in the first question of the day.
Look, firstly, fantasy football, great name. We all love it. I'm going to go with Zamir White, as I said I would. And Shaheed and Dell, it's actually pretty close, but I'm going to go with Shaheed. We know that Dell, they tend to target outside receivers, so in this matchup. So it could be that Dell has a good game, but I'm still going to go Shaheed.
Yeah, make it 3. Zamir and Shaheed for me as well.
Yeah, I'm going Zamir, and until Shaheed doesn't prove it, you got to keep going with him. So that's 4 in a row.
Ooh. I have Shaheed at wide receiver 21 this week. Holy cow!
So Bob's going to come in and ruin that.
No, I'm good. I'm good with this. Yeah, Zamir White and Shaheed for me as well.
Spirit fingers. Anybody? No, Ben. Thank you, Ben. And you notice Ben's in a different part of the world, so his looks upside down.
It's upside down down here. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Derek, you have another one?
Yeah, this is actually from our buddy Cool Whip.
Yeah.
Nice.
By the way, what did Cool Whip design, Derek? You want to show it off, or Ben? You've got yours on your wall.
Yeah, I don't. I'll have to bring it in. I don't have the banner on here. I don't think.
No, aren't you wearing it?
Oh well,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Well, he actually designed my logo for my DFS show as well. So
nice.
Yeah, Cool Whip is definitely
which actually there it is right hero. There. There it is right there.
Whoa.
Solid.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's our buddy Cool Whip.
Yeah, unsung hero of the show, that's for sure. Good morning, Cool Whip. What up, fellas? 6-point touchdowns. Do I start Purdy with less weapons versus Rams or Carr versus Philly? I love Purdy. I love Purdy in this matchup. I love Purdy and Ayuk. I love Jordan Mason. But, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think you can get off the Derek Carr train right now. So give me Carr to absolutely light up Philly today.
Hey. I am going to go with Carr. I've got them ranked really close to each other. I don't trust Purdy with no one but Ayuk.
Yeah, I'm just going to do this because this is what I expect. But you know where I'm going.
Let's do it. Keep going with the hot hand.
Derek Carr.
Bobby going to ruin it?
No.
Okay. All right. Any more, Derek, or back to JCW?
No, back to JC.
All right. Appreciate you guys taking over. That was nice. Full PPR buy low on Olave by dealing my Jerome Ford and Josh Palmer. Absolutely smash that right now. Or move Ford for Pollard. I can sign off on that as well. Another deal, I can move Hubbard for Singletary or Zach Moss. I would immediately trade Hubbard for Zach Moss. So for me, if you can get rid of Ford and the headaches of his carries going down, plus an injured Josh Palmer in a run-first offense, yes. For Olave, absolutely. If you can't get that done, but you can deal Ford for Pollard, absolutely yes. If you can move Hubbard for Zach Moss, absolutely yes. I would place my first priority on the third trade that's listed there.
Can I join this league? Because this looks really fun. I would take Olave of those options, of the trades you've got available.
Yeah,
what about if that falls through, do you sign off on the others as well?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm trading for Olave as well, and I'm going to make the second move and deal Hubbard but actually I'm going to deal him for Singletary. So I I would remake my roster with Olave and Singletary here if I could make those deals.
Yeah, these are all three good trades. Olave is the best of the bunch. I kind of like Pollard, though. Tajay Spears hasn't been getting as much work, even though they keep saying it's going to be an even backfield. Pollard seems to be the guy. So for a PPR, I kind of like Pollard in this trade. And then if you can trade Chuba, I'd go for Moss because Moss has been the guy. Chase Brown hasn't been really getting the work. So I like Moss and Pollard.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want to say these actual trades. Like, does the team that's trading Olave? I would do all of them. Just do all of them if you can. I mean, honestly, it seems. But I always feel like these are questions. I personally would not take any of these offers. I would be like, no, thanks. I'm going to keep Olave. I'm going to keep Pollard. I'm going to keep Singletary and Moss. So if you can get any of these, go for it. That's my advice.
So interesting as far, and we have a super chat coming up, but interesting enough as far as trades go. Derek and I, as you know, we split a couple teams. We spitballed a trade, and it didn't look great on paper. And then I actually improved the trade even more on our side. I posted it out on X this week. Sometimes you just need to make the offer, and you never know what will happen. Derek, do you want to recap that trade that we just made?
Actually, I don't have it in front of me. So since you did the work on it, why don't you do it?
We made the offer of Jerome Ford to the person that rosters Nick Chubb, Michael Pittman, and there was a third player. It was a receiver, wasn't it? I don't even remember who it was.
I'll look it up. Hold on.
And we offered those three players. Derek will find the third one. And we received Kyron Williams, Jaden Waddle. Oh, it was Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy, Michael Pittman, and Jerome Ford to the person that rosters Chubb. And we got Kyron Williams, Amari Cooper, Jalen Waddle. All because Cooper's done nothing. Waddle is now scary because he's got a non-Tua. And Kyron because he's down to the third left tackle. And by the way, everybody's freaking out about the Rams. So sometimes you just have to make the offer. I will say in a vacuum and outside of a vacuum, that trade is an absolutely one-sided deal. But it probably won't work out because it's my team. But
Waddle has been diagnosed with a non-Tua. So
Nice.
raise your hand if you could hate Waddle as much as Bob does.
Oh, it's so bad.
He hates him so much.
Listen, I was all in on Waddle last year. I had him like in every league. And I watched every game. And he was like 5 for 60, 5 for 50. And then like Tyreek Hill goes down, he goes off. And you're like, oh, cool. It was rough. It was a rough year. And like, so we'll see. Well, now we won't know because now Waddle is going to have to deal with the backup quarterback. So we'll never know.
Question for Ben, Derek, and Jefferson. Bob, you and I have to sit out. We will only vote as present. Who hates the player more, me and Justin Fields or Bob and Jalen Waddle?
I mean, I feel like this is a sort of situation where why can't we just have both? Like, because realistically, I mean, I can feel the hatred from over here. But it's got to be you and Fields because I just feel like you have more hate in you than Bob does. Like, Bob kind of comes out through his hair, whereas you just have it kind of like it's still there.
Yeah. So if I had the image ready, you know the guy from the Olympics, the turkey, the shooter, who just was pinpoint accuracy, just by going. That's what Ben just did to Matt.
Yeah.
So yeah. Now it's at least Bob will consider Waddle in a situation. You wouldn't even consider Fields, even if it makes sense. So the answer is definitely Matt.
Thank you.
Jeff, do you want to be nice or do you want to jump on board here?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to jump on board, dude.
Yeah.
You despise Justin Fields, so it's pretty hard to sway the other way.
So what I'm hearing is that
and just go on record. Waddle was so annoying last year. He went off against like the Jets, and you're like, what? Like you can't even beat like the best matchups, and then he goes off against the Jets, and he's on my bench for the first time all year. That's why I hate him. It's not because He was average. He was fine, like 12 fantasy points. But he goes off against the tough matchups. When you do the analysis, you're like, he's playing the Jets and Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed, and then he goes for like 25 fantasy points. That's why, because it feels personal. It feels like Waddle knows that I faded him that week. That's why. I'll never forget.
To wrap all this up, I think that Ben and Derek and Jeff, you guys are right. But what I think I heard collectively from the three of you is that I may be the worst person.
No, not what we said.
All right, let's move on.
Let's move on, man. We got a super.
All right, Scott, welcome back. PPR League, wide receiver start Flowers or Ridley. Good luck today. Oh, Bills Mafia, Buck Army. Love to have Scott in here. For me, it's not close. I have Zay as a top fiver this week for me.
Yeah, same with me. Zay Flowers is way ahead. That should be a good matchup on paper. It might not turn out that way, but we know that Ridley's matchup is not ideal. They're going to run the ball ahead.
Yeah, make that 3. I've got Flowers quite a bit over Ridley.
Make it 4. Go with Zay. Dallas, leaky in the secondary. They're going to continue that this week. So got to go with Zay.
Yeah, I think that they're going to have to go Zay Flowers. I'm going to have to go for Zay Flowers as well because of what we just saw last week against the Saints.
My wife is moving furniture. I can't make this up. I'm stuck here for the people. And
what about the team? What about the music last week? She played the music. That was fun. That was a good time.
Oh yeah, she just wants to be a part of the show.
I love it.
Now, who can blame her, right? She lives with a bad person, right, Ben? Moving on.
Apparently.
I mean, she should live with Bobby. I mean, that's the only issue.
Oh man, no. Let's stick with that. That was good, man. That's a bad guy. We like it.
All right. Well, there's got to be a villain in every story, right? So we know it's not going to be Sky. It's not going to be Jeff. No, Derek's too much of a family man too. We don't know enough about Ben. Ben's probably got some skeletons and secrets I'm not going to dig. Bob is who? Bob, yeah, it's me. So yeah, I'm fine with that. I'll wear the dark cape. That's fine. All right, back to JCW. By the way, my feelings aren't even hurt. That's what makes it really bad. So it tells me that I understand how bad I am. Back to JCW. His running backs: Bijan, Achane, Kenneth Walker, Mostert, Algier, Kareem Hunt, Ford, and Hubbard. Wide receivers are Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Harrison, McLaurin Palmer, DeMarcus, Brian Thomas. All of that to say hold Kincaid or trade to get one Laporta or Andrews. All 3 tight ends have been bad. By the way, every tight end has been bad pretty much to start the season. I am not trying to trade Kincaid. I still have him as a top 3 option season long. I think right now you don't get cute with any of those unless your gut says that those other 2 tight ends are better. But that's a 1-for-1 trade. I would not add to that trade unless it's a name like Hubbard, because Hubbard's soon to be out of a job. But for me, I think Derek, what do you always say? It's just rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic, right? So no, I'm sticking with Kincaid, and I hope that Kincaid has his coming out party this week. In fact, I have him I have him just behind Laporta this week, near the top for me.
For me, and this will have to be my last question as well, I would trade for Laporta if you don't have to trade one of your better players. Having said that, some of the other trades you were suggesting sounds like there might be better ways of using those lower players to get upgrades rather than this. So this would go behind those other trades you suggested earlier.
Yeah, I agree. You've got a lot of depth on this roster, and I'm okay staying with Kincaid. But, that said, if you could move Kincaid and Hubbard, perhaps, for Laporta, if some of this will also have to be, what's the other name on the waivers that I could fill in my roster? If I trade a 2, if you do a 2-for-1, for instance, what's the fill-in name that I can bring in. I'm okay with something like that, but I'm not going to pay a higher premium if I'm moving Kincaid for Laporta. In fact, Laporta has a early buy, so keep that in mind as well. I'm not gonna move a premium player with Kincaid to get either one of these guys, but I'm okay, or I at least would consider Kincaid and someone like Hubbard, for Laporta for that upgrade.
I would hold Kincaid. Week 2 was a weird game for the Bills with Tua going out, and they had an early lead, so he wasn't had to be used much. So hard to say. I would still hold with Kincaid. I like Laporta. I don't know if Jameson Williams coming out party is just a 2-week thing, or it's going to be a long-term season thing. And if it is, I think that hurts Laporta because there's so many mouths to feed in that Lions offense. So I would prefer to hold Kincaid at this point early in the year without having to make a drastic trade that you may regret midway in the year.
And Jeff, remind me, wasn't week 2 Kincaid, and then the whole game script changed?
Pretty much.
Cook? Yeah. And they got into the lead. But yeah, it started heavily with Kincaid, and then it turned into the James Cook show. So yes, I think your memory serves you right that week 2 was a little bit strange, coupled with the Tua injury near the end. So, Bob, what say you?
I have to have a deeper dive on the schedule. Like, I think some of this is going to have to deal with like who they're facing, who has the better long-term schedule. I mean, I think Laporta's slow start is a little concerning because of the Jay Will stuff. Plus, they have so many other players too to feed. Kincaid, it's like, I mean, really, like Keon Coleman hasn't really gone off either. I mean, Shakir's been okay, but he hasn't been like 150 yards. Like, where's all the Diggs production going? It seems like they're really turned towards the run game. So, yeah, I would say this. I know this is a cop out, but like I'm gonna do some deeper dives after this week on rest of season schedules. So JCW, come back. We'll be on Wednesday, Thursday next week, and next Sunday. I'll have more information about like the next 5 weeks. So if you're 0-3, so maybe guys you could target that have really good next 5 weeks, and then rest of season stuff. So I'm building that stuff now for trades and stuff. But give me a couple days, and I'll get back to some more stuff there.
Just one thing,
Ben. I hate to see you go, but it looks like it's your time. Thank you for calling me a POS today. It makes it known that you're listening. I'm assuming the people out there that are watching as well, they truly get it. And I hope that you don't get any sleep tonight.
I will not. I never do. And on my friend Sam Laporta, by the way, just a report out this week that Dan Campbell said they're going to get him more targets and that they eased him in this season because they were concerned about his hamstring injury. So expect a little bit more from Laporta this week.
I like that.
Or that's Coach Speak 101.
Yeah. Or not. Either way.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Ben. Good to see you. We'll catch up later.
See you, Ben.
See you, Ben.
All right, moving right on. Bob, do you want to do injuries? Or you want to just keep knocking?
No, let's just get through these questions, and then we'll kind of do it a little quicker, and then we'll do injuries around like 9:30.
From Zalman, Najee, Singletary, or Jerome Ford in half PPR. And Bob, I think that the three of us are going to give quick answers. I want to hear your analysis over with a name like Deontay Foreman, how that player would fit into this argument as well. So for me, I'm going Najee. I think he's the best player on the list. No, he's playing the Chargers. So give me Singletary with volume.
Well, again, for me, I have these guys 26, 27, and 28 in my rankings, so they don't differentiate. But if I'm just going strictly on my rankings, I'm going with Ford today against the Giants.
I'm going to go Singletary for the volume.
Well, in my adjusted line yards metric, the number one offensive line versus defensive line metric this week is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Of course, they're all banged up on the offensive line against the Chargers. I like Najee a lot this week. The reason why I'm not, I think, and this is just me, the Deshaun Watson issues. I think what happened is when the Browns were at their best, they had Nick Chubb, and I think Foreman offers them this kind of grinder running back, and I think they kind of want to get back to some of that because Watson's just not playing well. And I think, Jerome Ford's a nice player, and he actually is playing well, but he doesnn't seem like the type of guy who's going to be a volume guy. So I think, in my opinion, when you look at the Giants this season, they kind of get beat up by those bigger backs, Brian Robinson, etc. So that's why I'm leaning as one of my starts of the week, Deontay Foreman. He's also really good at home. He's also good at when they're actually favored. If you look at the win versus losses, home reverse rates, way splits, he really pops out to me this week. So, and listen, last week he had 14 carries. I know it was only for 48 yards, but like clearly it's not like Cleveland last week was in a blowout or anything. They were playing with a little bit of a lead. So I think that's why I favor Foreman. So I think in this scenario, though, I actually like Najee this week as a potential at home against the Chargers. So I'm going to go Najee Harris.
So I believe that the numbers for Ford outside of touches favored him statistically. He was a better running back than Deontay Foreman last week. However, Foreman had significantly more touches. So and Cleveland's offensive line is great, right? You're talking top 3 with Philly and maybe Indy being up there as well. I just cannot figure out what to do here. Is it going to be Ford comes back and takes all the touches this week? Is it going to be Foreman? Do you have the guts to play either one, right? The easy call is, okay, well, Ford's been the starter. He's the starter. I can play him, but Deontay Foreman would be the one that would take big eggs to start him. And I'm not sure what to do. I have both in a couple of leagues where I have a flex decision to make. So that's a tough one. And I think those questions are going to start rolling in more.
Cam Akers is my streamer of the week. If I'm streaming a running back and I'm desperate, Cam Akers is the guy I'm putting in. Najee, by the way, is at least he's going to get probably 20 carries for 76 yards. Like, it's not going to look pretty, but they're going to give him a bunch of work at home. By the way, and the Chargers I know have been great too. The only problem with that Steelers game, it could be quick. Like both teams are going to want to run. That could bleed clock. So, maybe my Fields call is probably a bad one. I understand that, but yeah, I think that they're both games are going to try to really push the ground game in that one. So we'll see.
Hey, Bob, quick question on that. Do you think Jaylen Warren usage is going to continue to increase, though? Because It did tick up in week 2.
Yeah, it will. And by the way, when I preseason, before the injury, I had Warren ahead of Najee. Because if you look at the history of Arthur Smith, his splits between his number 1 and number 2 running backs were a lot closer than what the Steelers did last year. And so Jaylen Warren is just more of an explosive player. And so if you gave it more of a 55-45 split versus what they were getting last year, I actually had Warren ahead before the injury. So I think that, yes, over time, I'm actually going to start leaning towards Warren more. Plus, he is the passing game back. Granted, is that a huge role with Justin Fields in this offense? No. But at the same time, I've liked Warren. Warren's probably going to be someone I'm interested in buying. But Najee's looked better, especially over the last year or so. So I think he's not going away. But this offense is going to run so much. But I do agree with you, though. It's going to probably be – you're going to see Harris getting scaled back a little bit.
All right, let's rip through a couple of these. GR is back. Two-parter. Half-point PPR currently playing Zamir in a flex. Second flex, Worthy, DeMarcus Hubbard, Brian Thomas Jr. Looks like he's got Chuba twice. Steele, Keon Coleman. That's the order he thinks. Best drop for a defense above Eckler or Chandler. I think Chandler. I would think Chuba Hubbard. If you have to drop a player out of that list, I'm probably dropping Chuba Hubbard. And my second flex is it's scary, but Worthy might be the name, even though he only has 2 or 3 touches each game. One came with 2 touchdowns, the other came with nothing. And we don't know what the backfield's going to look like, so it could be Carson Steele. I'm not starting Keon Coleman, who went 0 for 0 in week 2. So Zamir, I can sign off on him. Since it's half point, Worthy may not be the best name. We already talked about Brian Thomas Jr. is in a terrible matchup. So you know what? I'm going to go with Zamir and Carson Steele, and I'm going to drop Chuba for the needed defense.
All right. So I'm looking things up here as we're talking. So for me, I've got Worthy ranked higher than Thomas by just a little bit. I think the upside there, even in a half point, is worth it. Typically I might favor a running back here, but I'm not really sure what was going to happen with Carolina now. With Chuba, is he going to be reignited with a new quarterback, or is it going to be much more of the same? Same with Steele. He was the waiver darling of the week, but is that going to actually translate, to on field and for fantasy? I'm a little skeptical. It wouldn't surprise me if he ends with a 6 carry for 24 yards, and everyone is poking their eyes out for spending all the waiver capital on him. So that's a very real scenario for me. So give me Worthy here and that potential upside. And as far as the drop for the defense, I'm actually leaning toward Chandler as well. Brian Robinson, to me, has really taken a stranglehold over that backfield, but Eckler is getting targeted in the backfield, and he's 100% reception rate as well. So you're going to get some points there, even if he's not the workhorse. Chandler on the other side, he's getting 8 to 10 rushing attempts and very little work in the passing game. So Chandler would be the drop for me for the defense.
This is a very interesting one. I think Worthy is the best play because I think the Chiefs may be passing more now because we don't know how that backfield is going to look. So then they rely on Mahomes more. I did write about Demarcus Robinson because I think he might be the number one with the Rams, and he plays better at home as well, as does Puka and Cooper. So I know their line's banged up, but I think Demarcus may have the best day. Brian Thomas is very interesting as a Jags fan. I'm curious how that game script is going to look on Monday night, but I think I'm going to go with Worthy, and I'm going to agree with Styles. I'm definitely going to be dropping Chuba because I do like Eckler and Ty Chandler's long-term value, and I don't know what Chuba's is going to look like once Brooks comes back.
Yeah, I actually talked about Keon Coleman this week. He has the biggest matchup upgrade on the outside this week versus his first 2 weeks in week 3 against Jacksonville. I know it's been tough sledding. Had a decent week 1, 4 for 51, but I mean, nothing too exciting. I actually like Coleman. I'm going to play Coleman this week. I'm not dropping Chuba. I mean, he actually had a decent week in week 2. Jonathan Brooks, we have no idea. This season can be going down south fast for Carolina. And they might not even bother with Jonathan Brooks until much later in the season. They might not even bring him back at all if they don't feel like they have any shot at really playing for anything. So I'm not going to drop Chuba, especially because he's getting starting workload. He has a good matchup this week against the Raiders, too. So I don't mind him if you need to start him. I'm probably going to drop Chandler looks good. It's just he's never going to get the full workload. And Aaron Jones, I feel like, is going to get hurt at some point. So I'm actually okay with keeping him. Maybe I drop Eckler, I guess, for a defense.
All righty. William Jones is back. Thank you, Derek. It's a little late.
Well, yeah, I'm doing work here. I'm doing work.
Packers, Raiders, Bengals, Saints. I don't love the Saints defense, but I think he's calling that Brick House. Bob?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Now, what's your thoughts about the Packers this week? Because I know last week these games now with Malik Willis get really slowed down. They're trying to slow everything down, and they actually looked okay. And now the Titans they're facing this week, who Will Levis loves to turn the ball over. So what's your thoughts about that?
What the F are you doing? Is what his coach. That was the biggest takeaway from that game. The Packers defense is better than probably what people give them credit for, but I don't think they're all the way there yet. For me this week, it's probably the Raiders welcoming Carolina until we see that Carolina and the Red Rifle are back. So I would go Raiders with the Packers second, Saints third, Bengals fourth. Probably the best defense out of all of them on paper might be the Bengals, but I'm going to go Raiders, Packers, Saints here.
I don't really answer defensive questions, so I'm going to pass.
Oh, that's
Wow.
nice.
Okay. I mean, Jesus.
Thanks for joining us, Derek.
Yeah.
I like the Raiders in this one. And I think I'm going to go Packers for the second one. But yeah, I'm just going to go with those two. If you had to choose two, I'm going Raiders and Packers.
You know what? And I don't. This is just me. I actually like Seattle this week. I know a lot of people are going to forget that the Miami Dolphins no longer have Tua sometimes, and so like I actually was able to scoop them up. I also like the Titans too. The Raiders are the pick for me here. I actually am a little hesitant on the Raiders. Andy Dalton last year, for what it's worth, threw for 350 yards in his lone start. So I know he threw a bunch, but Carolina's offense could be a little different this week with Andy Dalton versus whatever Bryce Young was. So I'm a little hesitant, but the Raiders defense is legit. So I'm going to go Raiders here, but honestly, I actually don't mind the Titans or Seattle in those games.
All right, there you have it. L. Smith, James Conner, Tony Pollard, J.K. Dobbins, and Malik Neighbors. Well, that's a nice problem to have. We don't have the league settings. We're going to assume half-point PPR, and we're going to assume maybe it's one flex. I think in the top 5 of running backs this week is going to be Tony Pollard. Give me Tony Pollard, but I don't want to do that against my guys. So I'm not going to go Pollard. I am actually going to go James Conner, who's going to be on the field for a lot of offensive snaps.
Yeah, I have James Conner really high in my rankings this week, much higher than any of the others, frankly, on this list. So this is an easy one for me for Connors.
Make it 3. Let's go James Conner.
James Conner's my guy. Listen, by the way, though, Matt, I love the Tony Pollard call. I think Pollard's going to have an awesome week this week. But James Conner's just kind of on a different level right now versus these guys. So I'm gonna go James Conner.
All righty. Second question from L. Smith, which is one down here. Kelsey or McBride? For a team facing, remind me who the Chiefs are playing.
Atlanta. It's in Atlanta.
Atlanta. And Atlanta plays, what do they call it? Cover 3 or 3 deep, something like that. I don't remember the exact defense. But what it does is it leaves the middle of the field open. So I think primetime game, Kelsey hasn't had his week yet. So she'll be in the stands most likely and garnering all of the TV coverage. Give me Kelsey. I would probably flex McBride if you've got, unless you have a better option, but Kelsey at tight end with McBride and flex, or start Kelsey, bench McBride.
Trey McBride is my number 1 tight end of the week.
There you have it.
Easy question for me. McBride.
Yeah, I agree. McBride's been the most consistent tight end for fantasy right now, so I'm going to go with McBride. Because I think Rashid Rice has taken on that Kelsey role now for Mahomes.
Yeah, it's McBride for me.
All right. So I'm in the minority here. Dylan Kelly, welcome in. Should I trade Diggs, Brian Robinson, and Keenan, who, by the way, is out today, for Mike Evans, T. Higgins, and Deontay full PPR? I can get behind that trade. I don't like Dylan Brian Robinson, but assuming Dylan's got significant running backs to cover that type of trade, I can get behind that. Mike Evans is not going to have a great game today. T. Higgins will probably have a good game on Monday night, and he's back. Deontay, you don't need him this week. You need him for the rest of the season. So, yes, I can sign off on that trade, not knowing all of the specifics behind the rosters and the league settings.
Yeah, same for me. And that was the only hesitation at all would be the situation at running back if you're trading Brian Robinson, especially with the bye week starting to come into focus. But if you can afford the loss of Robinson and adding these wide receivers, yes, I'm doing that every day.
Yeah, I don't like trading away Brian Robinson, to be honest. I'm curious just what the team construction looks like, what the other receivers are, unless Diggs and Keenan are his 2 and 3. Maybe it makes sense, but I would lean keeping Robinson.
Yeah, I mean, well, we have to note the running back situation. He's not getting a running back in this trade. I do lean Evans and Higgins, though, long term. I actually think those are the best two of the best guys in this trade. So I'm okay with it. As long as you have the running back depth to trade Brian Robinson, then I'm good with it.
All right, let's whip through these. We've got about just under 30 minutes to go. Tyler Owen, Samaje, Jalen, or Chuba. We're going to assume half PPR. Give me Jalen Warren.
Yeah, it's Jalen Warren for me as well. I wrote him up in my DFS article, so I could point you that way to get a little update on why I like him, even despite Najee being there as well. But in this case, give me Warren.
I agree. Give me Warren.
Yeah, Warren as well.
All right. Epic Fail is back in this week. Welcome, Mr. Fail. Half point PPR, JSN, Waddle, or Cam Akers, JSN, and I'm not looking back.
Yeah, I mean, the only hesitation would be if you think that Cam Akers is going to get a full workload in a half PPR, that may sway you. I mean, that may sway you. We've been fooled there before, though. That's not. I'm not saying I'm doing that, but I think that's probably where this is coming from. I'm going to go with JSN and hope I'm right that the Cam Akers that we've come to know is the same Cam Akers we're going to see today.
Yeah, safe play JSN. If you're going to swing for the fences, roll with Akers, but definitely got to stay with JSN.
Yeah, Miami's a soft funnel defense. JSN's the play. Honestly, I got to tell you this, though. I sent out a tweet yesterday. There's two options for Akers today. 20 for 100 yards and a touchdown, or he's going to go 7 for 35, fumble, get benched, and you got 1.5 points. Those are the two options. There's nothing in the middle. So I like Akers if you have a desperation start, but like JSN is a lock. He's locked in for me. I love it.
Bob, I don't like to compliment you, but the tweet of the day that won the internet for me was the one you just mentioned. I laughed out loud, and not an LOL, but a real laugh out loud. I thought that was great. I absolutely loved it. All right, Bob.
Moved up to my book.
Are you ready? Do your calisthenics. Get warmed up. Earn your money, Bob. Boom. Epic Fail needs a what? A kicker.
That a boy. Epic Fail, by the way. Appreciate you always jumping on. Honestly, I'll make this really quick. My kicker start of the week is Blake Groupie, New Orleans kicker at home against the Philadelphia Eagles. If you're not able to get Blake Groupie on your roster, I also really like the Washington kicker this week. He's got a matchup. He's not owned at all. He's going up against Cincinnati on Monday night. So honestly, Blake Groupie's my guy, though. If you can get him on your rosters, he's, by the way, not even a top 12 kicker owned. He's my K1 kicker of the week.
There you have it, Blake Groupie. All right, VT Boo is back. PPR flex, Judy, Javonte, Waddle, Singletary. PPR, give me, every answer today I feel like I've said Singletary. So give me Bob's guy, Jalen Waddle.
No, I think the play today is Judy, actually, in that offense. I think he's lined up to have actually a better day than Cooper. So give me Judy here as my flex.
Says the guy that just traded Judy for Amari Cooper. Next.
No, you did that, actually.
I guess.
I'm going to go with Singletary. I just like his volume. And if they're down, he can get a lot of pass catches out of the backfield on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go Singletary as well.
All right. Look who it is, Lindorphins. We love to have our Dolphins fan in. Happy Sunday to you too, my friend. 2 questions, both half-point PPR. Here we go again. Akers at Minnesota, Najee versus the Chargers. Can we all agree that it's Akers?
I don't think we all agree on that. I'm going to go. I'm going to go Najee. I'm not putting my eggs in that basket until I have probably a week or two to see it, if it even lasts that long. So now give me Najee. I mentioned Warren before, and I like him too, but now give me Najee here. Again, that's going to be a running back heavy game, and between the two of them, they both could get into the end zone. Frankly, I'm just not sure what I'm going to get from Akers. It just looks like a trap door to me.
I'm getting the 20 for 120 and 1 touchdown from Akers. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
He's on your bench then. That means he's on your bench. So just remember that.
So give me Najee.
You're walking across the pond after 2 days of freezing temperature, hoping you don't fall through.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing with Akers.
Yeah, and you know I weigh 225, so let's just say give me Najee and let's play it safe then.
Yeah, I agree, Najee. And then for the second question, I want to go Demarcus Robinson. I know last one I said Worthy, but I think I want to go Demarcus, so I take my other answer back. I'm going to go Demarcus Robinson.
Yeah, it's Worthy for me. I have him quite a few spots higher in my ranking, so give me Worthy for the second one.
Shit. I really like both these guys. I like Akers and Harris this week. I actually just like I want to have some fun and just play Akers. I'm doing it. Just join me for the 7 for 35 and fumble ride, guys. We're gonna have a super fun week this week. I have him in a couple leagues. I'm starting him. I'm going for it, and then I'm gonna go Worthy. I know the matchups lean obviously Robinson against that, but Robinson seems like a lot of empty routes. Worthy is I don't love the matchup either. I think Rashid Rice is probably the only guy that's going to really produce, but I'll take Mahomes right now, even though it's Stafford. I actually, you know what? Akers Robinson. Let's do it.
There it is. All right, with Lindorphins, if he's still checked in, which we know he is, right? I mean, let's not get silly. We'd like to hear what Skylar Thompson is going to do for Tyreek and Waddle. Go ahead and put it in the comments, and we'll read that a little bit later. GR. I'm really glad my quarterback question caused some drama. Going to include Field in my question. All right, what are we doing?
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
He's invited back every week.
I like it, GR, baby. Get it going. What? Everyone's tired of hearing everyone be nice to each other. It's nice to throw some, into this whole thing. So people are here to watch some drama. We're going to be soon like the Desperate Housewives of fantasy football. I'm super excited.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? I think we get to hand out one backstage pass every week. I think GR may have just earned the placard for week 4. So, yes, please come back in. And by the way, if you mention Fields and I'm here, oh, wait, I won't be here next week. Save it. Save all of your Fields for week 5. I won't be available for week 4. Parents' weekend at college for my daughter, so I have to bow out for next week. But I can certainly type a comment in about Never Fields. All right, Marius, welcome in. Pickens or Ridley? Pickens receives the ball from Justin Fields, so give me Calvin Ridley.
I'm going to get a little more technical than that. I just got done saying that we expect a lot of rushes in that game, not as much passing volume. So yeah, give me Ridley. He's getting 6 to 7 targets per game, and he's gotten the end zone already once. So I like Ridley. I don't love. I mean, I was a Levis supporter in the beginning, and I think long term he's still going to be fine. But boy, that's just talking about hot and cold. We're just really not going to sure what he's going to do. But there is upside there. Give me Ridley.
Yeah, I agree. Give me Ridley in this one.
I'm gonna go Pickens.
So Derek wanted to provide more analysis. Same pick as me, right? It's science. It really is. It's Justin Fields. There's like a cheat code. He's the anti-cheat code. He used to be a cheat code. Now he's the antithesis of a cheat code. By the way, Waterboy, longtime writer, Waterboy has been in my column every week for 3 years. I don't know why his handle here is not Waterboy, or I would have realized that right off the bat. So Waterboy, welcome in. Great participant in my waiver wire column every week. Lindorphins also, all right, Bob, we're going to lean to you. Best DST for the next 2 weeks. We said Raiders this week. Based on the matchups for the next 2 weeks, I think I will lean Cincinnati if you have to pick up one for both weeks. If not, I'm going to go Raiders now, Bengals next week.
Yeah, it would be the Titans for me if they're going to go 2 weeks here. I'm not going to do Bills against Baltimore. Bengals and Carolina is also an interesting one too. But I think the safest one here is the Titans against the Packers, and the both backup quarterbacks would probably be my best bet if you have to go a 2 week stretch here. But you should be streaming, defenses every week, especially if you're at this point. But I'm going to go Titans out of that group.
Yeah, I agree. I agree in the sentiment that this just shows you can stream defenses practically every week. I do like either the Titans or the Bengals. Frankly, I could go with either one and be happy. I'd probably go with the Bengals first, frankly, but could go either with either one of these and probably come out with a net about just the same.
I'll go Tennessee. I like streaming against backup quarterbacks.
Nice.
Lindorphins, one more. Lastly, who do you prefer as a bench stash in half PPR? For me, it's Blake Corum.
Now, Chase Brown to me, he's getting the workload now somewhat, and we've already seen that Zach Moss just is not a long-term option. So I would expect to see more and more Chase Brown as we go. So give me Chase Brown.
Yeah. I think there's so much hype on Chase Brown. I don't know if it was real or not, just the way he's been used.
Nice. It was all lies, Jeff. It really was.
I think it really was.
They lied to us.
Yeah, I mean, everyone bought the hype.
Yep.
I still like Blake Corum. I love Kyron still, but I do think Corum is the safe bet to keep as a stash.
Yeah, Chase Brown for me.
Look at this. Could there be a worse message from Bill Dino? His app for NFL is down. He is not happy. But that's why we're here, Bill. Throw your questions in. We'll get you helped out as much as we can. Full PPR start to Mike Evans, Marvin Harrison, Tony Pollard. This is the week to sit Mike Evans. Give me Harrison and Pollard.
I agree. I hate to say it, but this is the week to sit Mike Evans. So I'll take the second two as well.
Damn. I'm going to agree, but watch Evans go off now.
Yes, Harrison and Pollard for me.
All right. JP, if you have Kupp and Puka out, are you guys giving up a 20-25 second to get Weddington in Dynasty? If he goes off today, you probably won't get him for a second anymore. In a vacuum, sure, I'll trade a second. I don't play enough Dynasty. I don't play any Dynasty. So I don't really understand the value of draft picks. So, Bob, if you play Dynasty, which I know you do, what do you think about giving up a 25 second?
No, that's too much. You got to go third. And that's a fair offer, by the way. Third is still probably, this guy's not done a single thing yet. So third round pick should get the deal done. And I think that's even still being a little aggressive. But I get what you're saying. I think Whittington is fine for a third round pick.
So his follow-up is, if Whittington goes off today, can I sell him for a 25 first in Dynasty? No, it doesn't matter what he does today. You probably are not. Even with recency bias, you're not going to be able to deal him for a first-round pick.
You can try, though. You can try.
Throw the name out there.
Try. That's a fact.
Yep. Cosmo checking in, 4-point TD league, Baker or Derek Carr. I will tell you that these are currently the 1 and 2 quarterbacks in fantasy. As much as I want to say Baker, he's got a tougher matchup with Mike Evans today. So give me Derek Carr all day today.
Yeah, another one where you're probably not going to go wrong. But give me Derek Carr against the Eagles at home. High scoring game. Give me Derek Carr.
Derek Carr's the answer.
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr it is. All right, Bob. Official Savage is looking for kicker report. Bailey Groupie, Washington kicker. Anything else you want to add?
Nope. Blake Groupie's the guy you want. If you can get your hands on him, he's definitely my K1 this week.
All right, there you go. Lindorphins, no, thank you. Best of luck to you. We'll check you out in week 4. The other guys will be here. I'll check you out on week 5. KJ Frederick, full PPR flex, Mike Evans, Zach Moss, J.K. Dobbins. I'm going to assume it's one player. I'm going to bench Evans, and I like Dobbins' volume and what he's brought to the table so far. So for me, KJ Frederick, it is J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, I think Dobbins is the safest play. I did write about Gus as well in my DFS article, so I like Gus in DFS, but Dobbins here is the safest play of the 3.
Make it 3. Let's go Dobbins.
I'm going to go. Can I really play? Washington's not been. I'm going to go Mike Evans.
What? Thought we just benched him.
Why? Well, yeah, and a different question with different players, Matt. Come on now. Is Washington like bad? I mean, like Washington's running.
No, they're not.
I mean,
they're not bad.
Singletary's like he had a good game last week against them. And I don't really know what to make of Rashad White's running ability anymore these days. He's been so bad. And Bucky Irving had a good game. I almost feel like I want to play Zach Moss this week.
No, he's fully healthy. Rashad White wasn't healthy.
You're getting real cute at certain points. And I think Mike Evans is still – I think he'll be fine. Maybe. Mike Evans, I guess.
All right, so we have a firm maybe out of Bob.
Yeah, not a huge fan of that answer.
Yeah, I think we lean mostly J.K. Dobbins. So another second question: Johnny or Gesicki full PPR? Give me the guy with the healthy quarterback. So give me Gesicki.
Yeah, I'm taking Gesicki as well. The Commanders have been actually very good against tight ends, but Gesicki is a pass catching tight end. He's got Teague Higgins there now to take some targets away. But I like the potential upside there with Burrows spreading the field. They're in desperation mode. So I can see Burrows coming out chucking it. And Gesicki should get 6 or 7 targets. So give me Gesicki.
Make it 3 again. Give me Gesicki.
I would definitely pick up Strange if I could, if I play him over both these guys. And then also I really like Eric Soibert, the San Francisco tight end, the backup for George Kittle if you're really desperate. But of these two, I'm going to go Gesicki.
There it is. Who, by the way, you did us very well when you gave us his name earlier last week. Props to Bob. I'll do it very quiet because I hate to do that. TW, half point PPR. Which White, Rashad, or Zamir? I think we can agree quickly it's Zamir for all of us.
Zamir, yeah.
Zamir.
All right. Lindorf, check back in. Friend Francisco Lindor fan, and that's my name's Genesis. Oh, Lindor. But Tyreek splits without Tua aren't as abysmal as you might expect. I think McDaniel schemes up enough touches for him. Well, all right, we'll take it. JP, get ready to eat crow with that field. Oh, my God, I got to read these before I put them up in the air. All right, well, then I will tell you what. I'll buy the crow. It's probably going to go bad before I have to eat it because that's how bad Fields is. You're a casual who I feel like somebody may have created this to get at one of us. Who is the best fantasy player, past or present? To me, I think it's probably LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah, there's so many people that fit this. Jerry Rice probably would be my number one. Kurt Warner. Would you expect that? Kurt Warner, fantasy player. He won championships all by himself.
Yes, he sure did.
Mm-hmm.
He may have won championships with the Rams and with the Cardinals.
Yeah. LT. Well, I wasn't playing fantasy until like the early 2000s, and like some of the guys. My first pick was Priest Holmes.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like when I was early on, didn't really know what was going on, and I remember dropping like a Priest Holmes for like a Giants player because I was like 12 years old, not sure what to do there. But I would say LT. Like this stretch he had with Danny and Tomlinson for like a half a decade, he was out of his mind good. 28 touchdowns good. It was not even a real thing for a long time, and it's not even close for that long of a period. I mean, guys have had monster seasons like Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams had 25 PPR points per seasons, but like LT did it year over year over year. Even like that 2-year stretch with Todd Gurley was awesome, but LT was doing it forever. So it was just a whole different level.
I'd have to throw in Marshall Faulk.
Oh, man, he was so good.
Unfortunately.
And again, like Eric Dickerson, how does he end up on both of those teams? How do they not keep the both of those guys that they don't stay for life? I don't understand it.
I'm going to do a quick injury rundown, guys. It's 9:45, and I'm going to get through some of those really quick. We are through
and
the
JP,
questions.
You're welcome. come back every week. We'll be here. He's already given kicker. Now he's going to run through injury report. So, Derek, if you will monitor the questions real quick, Bob, knock it out, and if we'll sign off after that.
Yep, sounds good, boys. You guys take a minute, relax, enjoy yourselves, stretch your legs. All right, we're going to talk quickly about some injuries, key injuries that are going to help you set your lineups this week. Let's dive right into it, folks. And obviously, I'm going to make this big. First off, the Giants at the Browns. David Njoku is officially out, and Pierre Strong. Pierre Strong is the RB3 for the Browns. He does get a decent amount of passing game work. I do think that narrows down the focus to just Ford and Foreman. I really like Foreman as a possible RB2 this week against the Giants at home. David Njoku being out should help Jerry Jeudy and Amari Cooper in this matchup. The Giants are an out wide funnel defense this season, so I do think if you want to start one of those guys, you can. I prefer Cooper having a final bounce back. Jedrick Wills is finally back. He's the right tackle. Jack Conklin is out. Both tackles have been out all season. Jedrick Wills coming back is big news for that Browns running game. I think Deontay Foreman benefits from that as well. Jumping down to the Eagles and Saints, A.J. Brown is out. This is really notable. Devonta Smith is a slot receiver now. He plays that CeeDee Lamb role. He will get plenty of time away from Marshawn Lattimore and those outside cornerbacks for the Saints. New Orleans is a big-time slot funnel defense. 61% of their fantasy points come from the slot. I really like Devonta Smith this week, especially with Brown out as well. As we just discussed, Marshawn Lynch is in. Marshawn Lynch. I just saw a video of Marshawn Lynch dancing, so that's why he's in my mind. Anyway, Taysom Hill is out this week. That is a little notable, especially because of the fact that Derek Carr should maximize all the quarterback snaps and also help with Alvin Kamara and helping all those guys too. Juwan Johnson as well will probably get more snaps if you need a desperation at tight end. Has not produced a lot this week. I expect the Saints to have to play a little bit more than they have over the last few weeks. They have not thrown a lot, so maybe Juwan Johnson falls into that fantasy radar in this matchup with no Taysom Hill in that game. Jumping on to the Texans and Vikings, of course, Joe Mixon and Dameon Pierce are out this week. That is big-time news. I think Cam Akers is an RB2 this week. I'm riding the wave. Let's have some fun. Brevin Jordan is out. This is somewhat notable, especially because of the fact that my computer just went out. Great. There we go. Anyway, back to it. Brevin Jordan is out. That's the backup tight end. I think that actually is going to help Dalton Schultz a little bit. Jordan was getting a decent amount of work, and I think Schultz gets a slight bump this week, and I really like him in his matchup as well. A couple additional things I thought were interesting for the Cam Akers. Ivan Pace and Dallas Turner, some of the key front seven guys for the Vikings, will be out today. I think that's going to be big news and help Cam Akers in this matchup. Jordan Addison is out this week, so that means, of course, Justin Jefferson will be riding high as the lone main option for the Vikings. Packers, Titans, Jordan Love officially out this week. Marshawn Lloyd has officially been placed on IR. That is notable, especially for Josh Jacobs owners. Getting your hands on the new backup might be key because also A.J. Dillon is out as well. Jordan Love being out again today. I know the Packers got through it last week against the Colts, but calling my shot, I think the Titans defense is a lot better than the Colts right now. And I think the Titans defense is a great streamer defense this week. Broncos, Bucks, as you can see, a lot of going on in this one, folks. Mike McGlinchey, right tackle, is officially done for the season. He's out, or not for the season, he's on short-term IR. Audric Estime is also out too. Listen, the Bucks are very good against big bruising backs, but Javonte Williams does get some decent amount of passing game work. So I do think that he'll be okay in PPR formats, but don't expect a lot on the ground. Bet his rushing prop under. However, on the flip side, though, Vita Vea, one of the best defensive tackles in football, will be out today. That is going to help that running game matchup. So maybe Javonte is still on the RB2 map. We also have Brian Browning and Devon Vele, who's a slot receiver. Listen, the way you beat the Bucks is on the perimeter. So I do think that if you want to start a guy like Cortland Sutton, sorry, my apologies. You do not beat the Bucks on the perimeter. They are a slot funnel defense this year. So obviously Cortland Sutton is still a kind of a risky bet this week on the road against Tampa Bay. But I do think there's some notable on the back with like Antoine Winfield being out as well. So just something to note there as well. Bears, Colts, Travis Homer, and Blasphemy are both out. These are the fullback and also the pass catching back for the Bears. Listen, DeAndre Swift has an absolute smash start this week. They have DeForest Buckner is out officially, the main defensive tackle for the Colts. The Colts have been terrible on the ground. If DeAndre Swift can't get it done this week, I don't think there's going to be a week where he can get it done. Keenan Allen being out. By the way, Keenan Allen, that's a weird spelling. Double N, not double E. That's on me. We'll fix that for next time. Keenan Allen is out this week. The Colts are an out wide defense, so I do like DJ Moore. I think it's a little bit riskier to start Roma Dunze, but he should get a couple more targets in a plus matchup on the outside. We do have players like Julius Brents is out this week, so that is key. Josh Downs and Michael Pittman are both in, so the Colts will have all their weapons. I think A.D. Mitchell will take a back seat, but we'll have to watch to see what the breakdown is. But Josh Downs is an interesting stash because he does look to have the best chemistry with Anthony Richardson. Jumping over to the Dolphins at Seattle, Raheem Mostert is out. Tua is out. Kenneth Walker is out. Jerome Baker is out. Also, a couple additional guys are officially in, which is Mafe and Hall. Don't have to worry about them. They are playing in the later window, so nothing to see there, but we'll figure out. Obviously, they're questionable. Those are two linebackers for the Seattle Seahawks, but I think they should be active this week. The reason why I'm just bringing this up, though, is obviously with Tua out, Waddle and Hill are both very risky. I still think Hill is a wide receiver too, but Waddle is someone I'm trying not to start if I can. Kenneth Walker being out. Listen, Zach Charbonnet has not been great on the ground this season. He's not been great on the ground in general, but he does find the end zone, and the Seattle Seahawks are much better on the ground at home. So I do think Zach Charbonnet is still a solid RB2 in this matchup this week. Talking Chargers, Steelers, Justin Herbert's officially in. Josh Palmer is out. I think Ladd McConkey should get a couple more targets now with Josh Palmer not in the game. So I do think Ladd McConkey is a solid wide receiver 3. The Steelers will be dealing with a lot of injuries up front. They have lost their guard. They also lost their right tackle on Friday's practice. I do think this is a little concerning for the Steelers, especially with the Chargers having really good edge rushers. I think the Chargers DST is still solid, but Justin Fields has done a pretty good job not turning the ball over this season. Panthers, Raiders. Well, the Panthers are going to be down another defensive tackle. Derek Brown is on IR, but Shai Tuttle is also going to be out. Tuttle is going to be out as well. That is a huge loss for that Panthers front. The Raiders, Zamir White, folks, sign up all day. He should have a monster game in this matchup. The Raiders will be down one of their key linebackers as well. That's also notable. I think Chuba Hubbard isn't an ideal start this week, but you could do worse for a guy who could probably get you 7 to 8 fantasy points if needed. I want to jump down to, I do have a second page. Unfortunately, I had to fit a lot in there this week, so just bear with me, folks. Bear with me. All right. 49ers, Rams, McCaffrey, Kittle, Debo, all out this week. I think Brandon Ayuk is probably the biggest start of the week. Eric Soyber is one of the backup tight end, earned the number 2 role behind George Kittle. I actually don't mind him if you're desperate at tight end. Maybe a fun DFS play in this matchup. That list continues for the Rams as you look at Allen, Puka Nacua, a bunch of offensive linemen are down, but also John Johnson, the safety, is on IR officially. He's one of their best cover guys on the back end. That really helps guys like the tight end and also Brandon Ayuk in the deep passing game. So I really like those as well. The Lions at Cardinals. The Lions are pretty much healthy. Marcus Davenport's 100% healthy as well. So that means the Lions front is full go. Ravens, Cowboys a little bit later. Jake Ferguson is officially in this week. So that is a must start. I actually have him as a top 6 tight end in this matchup. Marquise Brown, Isaiah Pacheco are both on IR. Isaiah Pacheco is key. I know we're kind of wrapping up 9:55, so I want to jump off really quick. But that is key because I think Carson Steele is someone who I'm going to take a wait-and-see approach on. I don't love the matchup on the road against the Falcons, so I'm going to not start him if I can. Bills, Jags, just a couple of notes here. Evan Ingram is out. Brendan Strange is my favorite start of the week at tight end because Teron Johnson, slot corner, and another linebacker is also out for the Bills. So the Bills will be banged up in the middle. That's how you beat Buffalo, not on the perimeter. So that's why I like Brendan Strange if you need a deeper start. T. Higgins officially in. That is good news, but the Bengals are going to be down 2 starting defensive tackles in this game. So I do really love Brian Robinson. He might be the start of the week at the running back position. All right, bringing back the team to finish up the rest of the questions. Did anything come in? Fellas, I don't even have my own picture anymore.
Yeah, Jameson or Terry McLaurin, Najee or Brian Robinson. Pick one running back, one wide receiver. Jameson, McLaurin, Najee, Brian Robinson. I think for all of us, it's Jameson and Brian Robinson.
Agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bo Nix or Skylar Thompson. Yuck.
Yeah, Jets fan said in a later post he doesn't have audio, so you can type in his answer here, the consensus. I went with Skylar Thompson just because of the better weapons.
Yep, that's what I'm going with too, because, Ronald McDonald says prayers up for Jets fan.
Yeah, if you're down to those two, then you're really prayers are needed.
All right, that is it. Derek, do you have control? Oh, there's Bob. All right, Bob, we're done. Wrap it up. Let's hit the music. Oh wait, one more.
Mr. Scampers is down there.
Ford or DeAndre Swift full point PPR? Jerome.
Wait,
Ford,
where's the question here?
On my roster.
Oh, all right. We're out of here. We can talk offline. All right. Thanks, folks, for joining us once again. This is the Razzball Fantasy Football Podcast on the Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel. This was the Start Sit Show. We're going to be here every single Sunday for 2 hours before kickoff, so make sure you jump on. Enjoy the games. Good luck, everybody. Thank you for everybody, all the team guys. We appreciate for being on. We are out.